Hello, Bacha Party. How are you? This is your friend, philosopher, guide, and mentor, Dr. Sunil Kanal, taking your 10th standard revision lectures of science along with Atal Seva Kendra and Anubhavi Foundation for your 10th standard. Dear students, I hope you are all fine and you have been studying very hard and you are really preparing yourself for the board exams. As I told you, I am Dr. Sunil Kanal and going to represent or talk about animal classification. So, let's talk of animal classification chapter science 2, chapter number 6. Marks are 4 compulsory, with options it is 6 marks. Now, let's talk of the initial part of the syllabus is not there for your exams this year. It has been deleted. We are coming to the traditional method of classification. So when we are talking of animals as such, first of all, why we have to classify the vast kingdom of animals or animalia? This is because there are so many different varieties of animals that it is very difficult to remember the individual characteristics, the similarities and differences of each and every organism. Therefore, they have been classified in small groups with which we can understand their similarities, their differences and their contrasting features and so on. So, traditional method of classification, what we have been following till now. Okay. So let's talk of example chordates. So chordates, now the animal kingdom has been divided into non-chordata and chordata. Now when I come to chordata, you can see they have a notochord, okay, dorsal notochord. What is a notochord? It is a supporting framework which will support the nerve cord or in human beings that has been developed into the spinal cord. So we have the vertebral column which is supporting it. Actually that vertebral column, which is bones now, is initially notochord in the embryonic development or in an embryo. So body is supported by a notochord. Pharyngeal gill slits or lungs are present for respiration. Even we have the gill slits in the initial embryonic development, which is not present. Then we have the lungs. Nerve cord is present on the dorsal side of the body. The heart is present on the ventral side, which is again an important thing. And notochord is long and rod-like supporting structure present on the dorsal side of the animal. It keeps the nerve cord isolated from the remaining body. This is how we are traditionally classifying the organism. So let's talk of classification and phylum. So all chordate animals are grouped together in a single phylum. So rather that is phylum chordata. But otherwise the kingdom Animalia has been broadly classified into two subkingdoms. One is non-chordata and the other is chordata. The subkingdom chordata has 10 different phyla or the phylum. Phyla means the subgroups which are present. Each phylum, we can say the names here. It is phylum Protozoa, Porifera, then Cnidaria or Coelenterata. Then we have Platyhelminthes, Esculenthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata and Hemichordata. There are 10 phyla in the non-chordata subkingdom. But in subkingdom chordates, there is only one phylum, that is chordata, which has been divided into three subphylums: Urochordata, Cephalochordata and Vertebrata. This Vertebrata subphylum has been divided into 6 different types of classes. They are Cyclostomata, Pisces, then amphibians, then reptilia, aves and mammalia. Thus, the total classification of animals can be understood from this chart itself. If you know this chart, you can further describe them properly. So dear students, let's start the things. The first is phylum Porifera, which we are going to talk. Protozoa are the amoeba-like animals which we have been studying in the lower classes, and we start from phylum Porifera, which is a part of subkingdom non-chordata or the non-chordates. Okay. These animals, as the name suggests, Porifera, the body is having a simplest cellular structure. It's a multicellular organism, but with a simple body plan, and they are called as sponges. There are numerous pores on the body, therefore they are called as porifera, and the pores are called as ostia or oscula. They are aquatic animals. Majority of them are marine, that is found in sea water or oceans, and few in fresh water. Then these animals have a symmetric body. There is no such symmetry. They have special types of cells also called collar cells. They are non-motile. They cannot move. They are attached to the substratum. They do not show locomotion. Hence, they have a sedentary habitat or sedentary lifestyle. So, they are sedentary animals. Sedentary means they do not move. Their body, spongy body, is supported by spicules or spongin network or the spongin fibers, which are made up of calcium carbonate or silica. Silica is a type part of sand itself. These animals feed upon small organisms taken in their body along with the water. The water taken is through the ostia and given out through the osculum. And they may show reproduction by budding or asexual reproduction, or sometimes sexual method also. Example is Cycon euspongia, which is also called as bath sponge, and many other examples are there. You can just remember these two or three. The next is phylum Coelenterata or Cnidaria. C is silent here. Cnidaria. Body of these animals is cylindrical and umbrella-like. Cylindrical or umbrella-like. Okay. If they are cylindrical, it is called polyps, and if they are umbrella-like, they are called as medusa. The most famous example of the cylindrical body, that is polyp, is Hydra, while the medusa type we will be seeing in the Portuguese man of war or Aurelia, that is jellyfish, etc. Okay, so body of these animals are radially symmetrical and diploblastic. They have two germ layers or the embryonic layers of development, that is ectoderm and endoderm. They do not have mesoderm. They have only the tissue level of organization. They don't have organs or organ systems. Then they have cnidoblasts bearing tentacles are present around the mouth, and they are useful for capturing the prey, as well as cnidoblasts can inject the toxin in the body of the prey. So they are for offense as well as defense also. Example, as I told you, it is Hydra, then Adamsia, that is sea anemone, then Physalia, that is Portuguese man of war. You should know these examples along with their other names, a famous name, Portuguese man of war, Aurelia or jellyfish, then the corals, etc. Lakshadweep island is made up of corals. You should know this. Okay. Then we have the next, that is phylum Platyhelminthes. Helminthes come from the word helminths, means worms, and platy means comes from the word flat. So they are flat worms. Okay, they are generally endoparasites. Some are free living and aquatic. They generally live in the organism or in the host, and they suck or they take the food or nourishment from the host cells. Body is acoelomate. They don't have a true body cavity. They do not have a body cavity itself, rather, and bilaterally symmetrical. They are triploblastic. Their body is made up of three germ layers: ectoderm, endoderm, and means ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. These animals are hermaphrodites, means male and female reproductive systems are present together in the same organism. Example: planaria, liver fluke, tapeworm, etc. In Marathi, we call tapeworm as Naru, a very famous example in the coastal areas, Konkan regions, etc. This causes a lot of problems in human beings, in the farmers, etc. Then we have phylum Esculmenthes. These are also called as round worms. Okay, they are long thread-like worms. Dear students, you must have heard that children do have worms which are passed along with their stools many a times, and you must have also experienced worm infections when you were small children, generally 3 to 4 years of age, and you must be having, or you must have experienced some stomach ache, and with worm infection the doctor must have given some medicine to deworm you. Now these animals, Ascaris I was talking of, okay, so that is the intestinal worms, and filarial worm that is causing filariasis or elephantiasis, ज्याला मध्ये आम्ही मराठीमध्ये हत्ती पाय म्हणतो. All these examples belong to Aschelminthes. These animals are triploblastic, either free living or endoparasites. Okay, they can be aquatic or terrestrial. Generally they have a smooth body covered with a tough cuticle, and they don't have any segments, so non-segmented body, unisexual in nature. The male and female can be easily distinguished. The females are long while the males are short with a curved tail. The next is phylum Annelida. Annelida come from the metamerically segmented body. What do you mean by metamerically segmented? Means the segments are equally placed. You must have seen the famous example of earthworm, and the next is, you can remember the example of leech. Okay, ज्याला आपण मराठीमध्ये जलू म्हणतो. Okay, which is an ectoparasite. It sucks the blood of human beings and lives on it. Most of them are free living, but few are ectoparasites. They can be marine or freshwater dwellers too. Triploblastic, bilaterally symmetrical, and eucoelomate body. They have a true coelom. They have setae or parapodia or suckers for locomotion, covered with special cuticle. They are either hermaphrodites or unisexual. Example is earthworm, leech, Nereus, etc. You must be remembering earthworm, which is also called as friend of the farmers. Okay. Then we have phylum Arthropoda, the biggest group of organisms in this world. Okay. They are called Arthropoda. Poda means comes the foot or the feet. Arthros means joint, so they have jointed appendages. Planet Earth has the highest number of these organisms. Okay, lots of successful animals in different habitats, you will find them. Okay, many people are afraid of cockroach. You can see this example here only. Okay, you generally shriek, but also this is a beautiful butterfly with its beautiful wing. All they belong to, most of the insects belong to the Arthropoda group. Okay, they are found in all types of habitats, as I told you, ranging from deepest oceans to highest mountains. Triploblastic, eucoelomate, bilaterally symmetrical body. Then chitinous exoskeleton present around their body, unisexual in nature. Example is crab, spider, scorpion, millipede or centipede, paisa ज्याला म्हणतात, cockroach, butterfly, honeybee, etc. So these are phylum Arthropoda. Then comes the phylum Mollusca, the soft-bodied organism. The famous example is that of octopus and the snails. Okay. Now Gogol guy jala आपण म्हणतो. Octopus, you must be remembering the football matches in FIFA World Cup. One octopus was very famous. Just remember that. Those who are good football players, they must be knowing about this. So phylum Mollusca, the body of these animals is soft and slimy, hence they are referred as mollusca. Second largest phylum in the animal kingdom. These animals are aquatic or terrestrial, but mostly aquatic in nature, and in aquatic also marine, but few are freshwater dwellers too. They are triploblastic, eucoelomate, non-segmented body, and soft in nature, very soft. Except animals like snail, their body shows bilateral symmetry. Their body is divided into three divisions: head, then the foot, and the visceral mass. And the visceral mass is a concentration of organs here. Example is, you can see here. Visceral mass is covered with mantle, that is a thick layer which secretes a hard calcareous shell, and it helps to protect the organism and its organs from external aggression. Generally they are unisexual. Example is bivalve, snail, octopus, etc. The next is phylum Echinodermata. Sorry. As the name suggests, echino means spines and derma means the skin. So these are the organisms which have a spiny calcareous body, in which the body is covered with spines, and hence they are called echinoderms, found in ocean only, that is marine habitat. Triploblastic eucoelomate and a radially symmetrical body. Example is starfish, the famous example. However, they show bilateral symmetry in larval stages. They perform locomotion with the help of tube feet. They are also used for capturing their prey, that is tube feet. Some animals are sedentary while most of them can move from one place to another, and their skeleton is made up of calcareous spines or ossicles. These animals have good ability of regeneration. If the arm of the starfish gets detached, it can regenerate that arm again. These animals are usually unisexual. Starfish, sea urchin, brittle star, sea cucumber, etc. are the perfect examples of phylum Echinodermata. The next is phylum Hemichordata. Body of these animals is divided into three parts, that is proboscis, collar and trunk. They are marine in nature and they have notochord, which is present in the proboscis region only. Only here the notochord is present. Therefore, they are hemichordata because they are just representing the chordate group. These animals are also called as acorn worms, marine, and they live in burrows in the deep sea beds in the sand. They have one-to-many pharyngeal gill slits. They are unisexual. Example is Balanoglossus and Saccoglossus. So now coming to phylum Chordata. So non-chordates gets over here. Now coming to phylum Chordata. When we talk of phylum Chordata, we should know that they have a supporting notochord in their body. All chordates are included in the same phylum. The phylum Chordata is classified in three subphylum. Okay, so very important. And what are the main characteristics of phylum Chordata? They have a notochord present in the body, in at least in the developmental stage, and that also on the dorsal side. Pharyngeal gill slits are present in the body during at least one development or any developmental stage, example embryonic stage. Then single tubular spinal cord is present in dorsal side of the body, that is in higher chordates, and head is present on the heart is present on the ventral side of the body, which is a very important characteristic they have. So let's come back to the subphylum Urochordata. Marine animals covered with skin-like test or tunic, that is a covering which is skin-like. The larvae of these animals are freely swimming and notochord is present only in the tail region, therefore Urochordata. Uro means tail. Hence they are called Urochordata. Give reason can come. Then larvae metamorphize into adults after settling down at the bottom of the sea. Generally, these animals are hermaphrodites. Example is Haldmania, then Doliolum, etc. Let's go for the next thing, that is subphylum Cephalochordata. Now Cephalochordata, cephalo means head and chordata means the notochord present in the head region. They are small fish-like marine animals. Notochord is present throughout the body length. Pharynx is very large and contains gill slits. These animals are unisexual. Example is Amphioxus. Now coming to subphylum Vertebrata or Craniata. Now these animals, the notochord is replaced by vertebral column. Therefore subphylum Vertebrata or Craniata because they have the cranial bone, that is the skull. In these animals, head is well developed, protected, brain is protected by cranium or the brain box. Endoskeleton is either cartilaginous or bony. Some chordates are jawless, that is agnatha, whereas most of them are with jaws, that is gnathostomata. Example, human beings are having jaws, that is gnathostomata, while cyclostomata generally do not have jaw or they are jawless. So let's talk of the class Cyclostomata. Stomata comes from the word mouth, and cyclo means they are having circular mouth like things. You can see one petromyzon attaching itself to a big fish or a shark fish or a very big fish, and similarly this is myxin. You can see they are ectoparasites, have jawless mouth provided with suckers, soft and without any scales. They appear like fish, but they are not fish-like. Paired appendages are absent. Endoskeleton is cartilaginous. Most of these animals are ectoparasites. Example is Petromyzon and Myxin. Now coming to class Pisces. Pisces are all the fish. You must be knowing fish. Maharashtrian coastal areas, fish is one of the staple food also. So you must be knowing about that. Okay. So class Pisces, they are cold-blooded or poikilothermic animals, aquatic animals, only living in water. Cold-blooded means they cannot adjust their body temperature according to the surroundings. So they are called as cold-blooded animals because they become inactive in cold conditions. Living in marine and freshwater, body is spindle-shaped, that is, see, it is pointed at both the sides so as to avoid or minimize water resistance. They have paired and unpaired fins. For swimming, tail fin is used as a steering organ during swimming, so it will help in changing the direction. Exoskeleton is in the form of scales, and endoskeleton can be either cartilaginous or bony. Respiration only with the help of gills. You can see here the gills, okay. Jala Marathi मध्ये कल्ले आपण म्हणतो. Example is rohu, pomfret, seahorse, shark, electric ray fish, stingray fish, and so on. Many of them. Then class amphibia, you can see the perfect example is frog, okay. So these are the animals which can live in water as well as land, okay. They are strictly aquatic during larval life and perform only aquatic respiration, whereas they can live in water as well as on land during adult life and can perform aquatic as well as aerial respiration. They have two parts of appendages. Digits are without claws, okay. Two pairs of appendages, sorry, okay. And forelimbs are shorter than the hind limbs in frog, which you can see that. Exoskeleton is absent, no skin, nothing, no scales. Skin is without any derivative and usually kept moist with for respiration. Therefore, it is very slimy to touch the skin. External ear is absent, but tympanum is present. So they have a tympanum. You can see that is a eardrum. Neck is absent. Eyes are prominent with eyelids. Example is frog, toad, salamander, etc. See this and you will remember the common lizard which you can see on the walls of your houses or somewhere near in the buildings, and many people get afraid to see this. The lizard runs one side and we run the other side, right? So this is class Reptilia. So these are the, according to the course of animal evolution, these are the first terrestrial animals to be formed. They are creeping animals, so they are called as reapers or reapers because their limbs are not developed properly. Therefore, they have creeping movements. These are cold-blooded or poikilotherms again. Even in amphibia, they were cold-blooded animals. They creep on the land as their body cannot be lifted up. Their skin is dry and scaly. Usually neck is present between head and trunk. You can see the neck here. Okay. Then external ear is absent. Digits are provided with claws. Example is tortoise, lizards, snakes, etc. But snakes are without limbs. Totally they don't have any limbs. Okay. Then comes the class Aves, that is all birds. These vertebrates are completely adapted for aerial life. That is, they have forelimbs modified into wings. They can fly. They are warm-blooded. Only aves and mammals are warm-blooded animals. That is homeotherm. That is, we can maintain our body temperature constant irrespective of the outside conditions. The body is spindle-shaped, again pointed at both ends to minimize air resistance during flight. Forelimbs are modified into wings. Digits are covered with scales and they bear claws. You can see that. Exoskeleton is present in the form of feathers to minimize the weight of the organism or the animal or the bird. Neck is present between head and trunk. Jaws are modified into beak. Example is peacock, parrot, pigeon, duck, penguin, etc. The last but not the least is class Mammalia, in which we are also there, and you can see a bat here, okay, responsible for the spread of a very dreadful disease, COVID-19. We are still fighting and battling with it every day. Okay, and we have found out the vaccine, thank God, and thank to the government of India and the scientists and the doctors who are working day and night for it. So class Mammalia, presence of mammary glands is a typical characteristic of mammals or Mammalia group, and mammary glands are well developed in the females to give milk or to breastfeed their little ones. These animals are warm-blooded, that is homeotherms. We can keep our body temperature constant irrespective of outside condition. Body is divided into head, neck, trunk and tail. Digits are provided with nails, claws or hooves, example in horse. Exoskeleton in the form of hair or fur, example is elephants, humans, kangaroos, dolphin, bat, etc. Donkey, monkey and man, as I always tell. So dear friends, we have completed this topic. Let's see certain questions now which will help you. Example, generally they will ask you classify the organism, then you can classify them easily. Then there are certain questions on paragraph based questions with some fill in the blanks to be done. Example, body of Hemichordata is divided into proboscis, collar and trunk. Notochord is present in the proboscis region only. These animals are also known as acorn worms. They are found in dash habitat, of course marine habitat. Dash and dash are the members of that. The Balanoglossus and Saccoglossus are the examples of this phylum. Similarly, write 4 distinguishing characteristics of phylum Echinodermata. Body of animals belonging to phylum Echinodermata is composed of calcareous spines, hence they are called echinoderms. This is the first point. So when you are asked 4 distinguishing characters, means you are getting 2 marks for that. They are exclusively found in the ocean. They are animals belonging to this group or phylum are triploblastic, eucoelomate and radially symmetrical. Larval forms may be bilaterally symmetrical too. Tube feet is used for locomotion and capturing the prey. However, some animals are sedentary. Their skeleton is made up of calcareous spines and or plates which are called as ossicles. These animals have a good ability for regeneration. Please do give examples also. So dear friends, thank you very much. God bless you all. Keep studying, keep preparing, keep great aims and you will shine in your exams too. God bless you all. Thank you. This is Dr. Sunil Kanal, always with you, always praying for you. Keep safe and always be blessed. Thank you. God bless you.